Yo, what's up, y'all? Welcome back to another banger video. Hey, man, you already know how it is. Liking, commenting, and subscribing because we are on the road to 2,000 subscribers. So if you want to see your boy make it to 2,000 subscribers, then definitely subscribe to the channel and share this video with your friends and tell them to subscribe to this channel. For real, for real. Who does not want to see Storm Spotter Vince make it to 2,000? So go ahead. What are you waiting for? Subscribe. But today, I got a good story for y'all. Today's story is going to be about how I became a morning person for about a week, but then I went back to being a night owl. So let's get into it. So this story takes place back towards the end of December. All right? I was still in this constant loop where, I'd be in this loop, right? Where I would, get home from school. All right, so if y'all do not know my loop, let me tell you it. So I would go to sleep at like 4 in the morning, right? And then I would wake up at around like 8:45. Well, I would wake up around like 8:35 because I had to get on my van by 8:55. So I wake up around like 8:35, 8:45, and I'd complain about life when I'd wake up. So, I wake up around 8:45, complain about life, grab my caffeine, grab my phones, because at the time, like, my school was, like, constantly taking my phone, so, I was constantly bringing, like, multiple phones to school. In case the school takes one, I always got another, you know what I mean? Nobody takes down Storm Spotter events like that. So I always have another way. For real, for real. You take one phone from me, I'm gonna have another. That's literally how it is. Plus, honestly, I don't really leave the house unless I have like 2 phones on me, because what if my iPhone 14 Plus dies? I have this Google Pixel, which lately I've been alternating between the two. Because, I've been getting pics off this Pixel, or as my friend Elliot calls it, we call it the pickle. So I've been getting pics off this pickle lately, right? Oh my god, why did that sounded really weird. But we be getting pics off this Pixel, and I actually used this to record on the last day of school. So I hope that video turned out really good, because Pixels have really good camera quality. Like, how's the front looking? Oh yeah. For real, for real. Like, if I had to get an Android, I'd get a Pixel 10 Pro. For real, for real. So they're, like, really good. Plus, they have, like, AI cameras to enhance things. But that is not the point of the video. The point of the video is to not talk about phones. We're talking about the story about how I became a morning person. But right now, we're explaining my loop. So, I'd wake up, complain about life, and then, grab my caffeine, head out the door. And then I would head to my job internship. I'd head to my internship, all right? At my job internship, we did like stuff like the snack cart, where, I would just push the snack cart around. I'll be like, hey, how are you? You having a good day so far? Knowing damn well it's only 9 a.m. Like, bro, I would show up to that internship looking like I got ran over by a BMW X7. Like, come on now. Bro, you seen the video, the first segment when I filmed the last day of school? You saw how I looked when I wake up. For real, for real. So, yeah, I'd get to my internship, we would do XYZ, we would be assigned tasks on a different day and stuff. We just follow along with that. And then I'd get to school, all right? Then I would just go to my classes. And this was first semester before I got switched to PE 7th hour. But honestly, I pretty much skipped that shit a lot. So, yep. I get to my classes, head to lunch, debate on skipping social skills. Honestly, I think like towards December, it started to get a lot more better, so... That's good, that's good. So then I remember I would just head to social skills, then I'd head to 7th hour, which at the time was, well, you guessed it, another social skills class. And like at the time, I was like, why the fuck do I got 2 social skills classes? So then I'd head to my 8th hour. What did I have 8th hour? Oh, I had math skills. At the time, I was in math skills, but honestly, they found out I didn't really need it, so I just got put to doing Ingenuity Online. And, I finished that shit back in, like, before like, second semester. So, yeah. And then, I'd come home, I would goon, and then I'd go to sleep. Like, bro, I would have some of the best naps, bro. Like, there'd be times where I get home around, like, 3:45, 3:50, right? And then I remember, like, after my goons, like, bro, I would dead ass, like, pass out from, like, 4:30, and then I'd wake up around, like, 9 p.m. And, like, at the time, my mom, she was, like, complaining. She was like, Fans, wake up, I got food. She wanted to see me before work because, she barely gets time to hang out with me during school, which thankfully now that I'm out, we got more time to hang out and stuff. But, I don't blame her, alright? She's my mom, and, she wants to do shit with me. And it's like, bro, can we please do something this weekend? Please, I don't want to do anything during the fucking work week. Like, bro, nobody has energy to do anything after work or school. For real, for real. Like, I feel like the moment we all get off of school or work, we just, like, hop in the bath, goon, and then go to sleep for a couple hours. For real, for real. Like, bro, I do not get how the hell y'all have energy after school to do things. Because, I have a bunch of people. I have friends, right? That, they actually have jobs after school. So I'm like, bro, how the fuck do you do that shit? For real, for real. Like, my energy levels dip by, like, 2 p.m. anyway. So it's like, girl, how the fuck do you got that energy? Like, tell me your fucking ways. No, like, dead ass. I was talking to this one girl, and she told me she gotta do clinicals. And she gotta do that shit at like 6 in the fucking morning. And I'm like, girl, how the hell do you wake up and not complain about that shit? For real, for real. And she tells me, oh, I barely drink caffeine. Like, girl, how? How the fuck do you do that? Like, deadass, teach me your fucking ways. And she says, oh, well, I get good sleep during the night. Like, girl, sleep is for the weak. For real, for real. Like, deadass, sleep is for pussies. I survived this year off of pretty much naps alone. You know what? I gotta tell that story. I'm gonna tell that story about how I survived senior year off of straight naps alone. But that is not the point of this video. The point of this video is how I became a morning person. But right now, we're still explaining my loop. So where were we? Okay, we were talking about this one girl that pretty much survives on no caffeine. For real, for real. So I remember it was towards the end of December and it was approaching to New Year's, right? But something snapped on New Year's. Alright? So I remember I pretty much ended up going to sleep that night. I think I woke up from my nap around like 6 or 7. Oh my god, 6, 7. Okay, shut the fuck up. 6, 7's dying. I can't remember what time I woke up that day, but I think I woke up around like 6 or 7. And then I remember, I would just, I wake up, have my caffeine, alright? Because literally the moment I wake up, it's like, I need caffeine, or else I'm gonna die. For real, for real. So, I woke up, I had my caffeine, right? And then I was getting kind of tired by like 2 a.m. Alright? So you know what I did? I went to sleep at 2 a.m. And then I woke up around like 7:45 because I don't know why I just couldn't go back to sleep after then. So I said, hi mama, I'm up. For real, for real. So then I remember, my mom, she was actually kind of happy that, she could finally do shit with me. So what we did was, we went to the food shelf, we got something to eat, and, oh shit, what else did we do? I can't remember. Can't really remember much. So then I remember, we got something to eat, and yeah. And then I remember that night, I went to sleep at like 10 p.m. I went to sleep around like, I got tired around like 9:30ish, I think. I really can't remember. Alright, because I don't really keep track of it because I'm not a morning person anymore. Alright, I'm back to being a night owl. I'm back to being my regular self. Alright? So I remember that night, I went to sleep by like 10:30, maybe around 11. And my mom was like, okay, finally, Vince, you're starting to be a normal person. Finally, Vince, you're starting to be normal. But shit would change by New Year's. Alright? So then I remember, I was like hanging out with friends. So at the time I was friends with this one kid, Bradley. I was like, yo, bro, you want to hang out, bro? I mean, you want to hang out around like 11 a.m.? And she's like, bet, let's do it. Because, I was actually starting to fit in with his schedule and shit. Because, he's a morning person, alright? This motherfucker has a bedtime at 9 p.m. Like, bro, how the hell are you a senior in high school with a 9 p.m. bedtime? Like, bro, that makes no fucking sense to me. For real, for real. No, like, literally. The only type of person to have a 9 p.m. bedtime is probably a 5th grader. But honestly, there'd probably be 5th graders that be going to sleep at 11. For real, for real. I mean, in a world where energy drinks exist, you do not need 8 hours of sleep, buddy. He's like, oh, I need to get my beauty sleep. Like, bro, how about you try to survive a day off of less than 4 hours of sleep and tell me how that shit goes. For real, for real. Most people are fucking jackasses when they don't have enough sleep. Meanwhile, me, bro, I survived all of senior year off of naps alone, and I was not a jackass for a single time. What am I saying? No, I was like never a jackass this year. For real, for real. Like, we all have phases in our life where we hate people for no reason, but this year, I was not a jackass. You know what I mean, y'all? I mean, last year, I went through a jackass phase. I should make a story on jackass phases. Maybe. Okay, but going on, like, I was fitting in with the schedule, and I was like, bro, how the fuck you have a 9 p.m. bedtime? You know what I mean? At the time, I was actually starting to fit in with the schedule. My mom, she was like, okay, I think Vince has improved. For real, for real. So, this would continue for the next couple days. There was a night where I went to sleep around like 2 a.m. I woke up at 11 a.m. and, I was in bed by like, and this is the time where like my sleep schedule, it went up. My sleep schedule was starting to get good, but then it went down. So then there was nights that I went to sleep around like 1 a.m. But I was up by like 11 a.m. So like it really wasn't that big of a deal. Like lately, I've been waking up at 11 a.m. and honestly, it's really not that bad. I go to sleep around 3 a.m. and I wake up at 11. So, yeah. So then I remember, like, yeah, it wasn't too bad. I was still able to hang out with friends. You know what I mean? Because back then I would like make people wait until like 4 p.m. to do shit, which is really not. I don't really know how to say it, but it doesn't work for people. For real, for real. So then, we fast forward to New Year's because y'all don't need to know everything about this. We fast forward to New Year's, and I was preparing to set off the weather radios, right? I was preparing to set off the weather radios for a New Year's sound off. And you gotta wait to midnight for the new year, right? So I remember, like, the weather radio sound off, which was kind of weird because, you know, it was at the time where I had a really shitty phone, so it's like I couldn't really get the activation. Because I remember, like, that night alone, I went to sleep at, like, 2 p.m. Why did I say 2 p.m.? I'm at 2 a.m. Oh, my God. I think I went to sleep around, like, 2 a.m., 3 a.m., right? And the next day, I woke up at 2 p.m. Yes. So now, we're back to how I pretty much currently am, but it's gotten a lot better, honestly. I mean, I've pretty much been up before noon, so, yeah. I gotta start getting in the habit, because I am trying to get a job right now, so, yay! Alright, so now, after that, I kind of went back to, you know, being who I am now, for real. Because, you know, I was actually starting to feel kind of good about being a morning person, but then I realized, well, I missed the nights. So, I pretty much went to sleep at 2 a.m., 3 a.m., and then I woke up at 2 p.m. And that is how I fucked up my sleep schedule pretty much. So, that's pretty much it. Alright? I mean, there's really not much else of the story. You know, I was actually feeling pretty good about being a morning person. I'm like, oh my God, I finally changed. But who knew? All good things must come to an end. And then you're back to your current self. For real, for real. It's kind of like how I got back into vaping and smoking. I mean, it's really not that big of an addiction, I feel like. Okay, yeah, that sounds like somebody that's addicted would say. Honestly, it could be worse, but that's why I'm kind of back to the same person who I was back in 2023. Because back in 2023, I mean, I was still a night owl. All right. So I remember back in 10th grade year, I remember, like, I pretty much went to school off of no sleep. And, you know, I actually felt really good, right? But then I just crashed when I got home, so, yeah. That's pretty much the story, alright? So, if y'all like what you see, like this video, subscribe to the channel, and send this video with your friends. Also, follow me on Insta, Stormspotter Vince. That's Vince with 5 E's. So, like, Stormspotter Vince. Stormspotter Vince. Okay, I don't really know how to make the I sound. Is that E sound? E. Eh. 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 Okay, what am I doing? E. Eh. Eh. Stormspotter Vince. I think the E is silent events. No, it's not. Okay, what am I saying, y'all? Alright, y'all. Bye. I said bye.